Greetings all, I'm Gunner, and this is Gunner's Range. I wanted to talk to the world tonight, something that's bothered me a lot as we get closer into the election. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that I'm a supporter of Ukraine in this war against the Soviets. And I have become increasingly bothered and upset with what I'm seeing and hearing coming from the Trump campaign. It's very disturbing to me. You know, my father fought in World War II, and I was in the Marine Corps for 35 years. And what's happened to the American belief in and defense of liberty? As I have listened to Donald Trump and JD Vance, I'm shocked. I'm amazed to listen and read what they've said. Even worse, I'm totally disgusted. As a retired U.S. Marine, I am totally disgusted with the comments I've heard from JD Vance, who is a Marine. I am embarrassed. I am embarrassed that this man is a Marine. And I know you say, well, not now. Yes, once a Marine, always a Marine. I can't believe what I'm hearing, that they both think that Ukraine should give up territory and make concessions to Russia. What in the hell has happened to the belief in freedom and liberty in this country? When did we start rewarding enemies for invading democratic countries? And you know, I've heard all this crap about, well, Ukraine is corrupt. Let me tell you something. Ukraine's corruption is nothing compared to the corruption which exists in this country. Our corruption makes Ukraine's look tiny by comparison. But there's always someone out there who wants to use that as some kind of an excuse, to throw Ukraine under the bus. I've never been so embarrassed to see it's not Ukraine that's being thrown under the bus. It's freedom being thrown under the bus. Because Donald Trump and JD Vance would reward Russia for its aggression. I can't believe it, but it's probably so. In any case, this could end up backfiring on Trump and Vance more than he can realize, more than he'll ever realize. For one thing, Putin has sucked him in. He believes that Putin just thinks the world of him, or at least did before Putin endorsed Harris. So that, to me, that shows his naivete in terms of international politics. If you want to know the mind of Vladimir Putin, all you have to do is read the things he's written and listen to the things he said. And what he thinks and believes is out there for all to see. And Russia is not a believer in freedom, and certainly not Putin. And on top of everything else, as if it's not bad enough, they think Ukraine should give up territory. They don't want to make Russia repay for the damage it's done to Ukraine. I mean, what more can you do to reward an aggressor than something like that? This brings back memories, because you see behind me, I've got bookcases full of shelves on military history. Can anybody say Neville Chamberlain and Munich in 1938? The Brits and France threw Czechoslovakia under the bus. And did it help them? No. We still ended up in a war. And Trump and Vance, I think, and their advisors believe, well, if we just give up some territory, we'll let the Russians have some territory, that'll be enough. No, it won't. Vladimir Putin has made it clear. His intent is to reconstitute the former Soviet Union, and that means all the way into Germany. So anyone who is foolish enough to believe what someone says, read what Putin said, read what he's written, and you'll know. He has no intention of letting this go. All he'll do is rebuild the Russian army, and in 2 years, we'll be going through it all again. Except the next time, no matter what Donald Trump and JD Vance believe, there will be no way the United States can avoid another war in Europe. We tried to do it in World War I. We tried to do it in World War II. We couldn't do it either time, and we won't be able to do it this time. Why? Because there's too much connection. There are too many white Europeans who live in the United States to just ignore another war in Europe. It just can't happen. And there's no way they can avoid another war in Europe. And it will start. There's no question. A couple of years from now, Russia's rebuilt, and they go after the Baltic states. I mean, he's all but said it. Go after the Baltic states, go after Poland, and there we are. We got a war, and we won't be able to avoid it. But there is a downside to that. Let us just suppose that Trump is successful in going through with this, and then on top of everything else, demands that the United States not pay anything, and it all has to be taken care of by Ukraine and Europe. Okay. What happens when we have a war in the Pacific with China? Do you think for 1 minute the Europeans are going to help us after we've thrown them under the bus? Hell no. That's not going to happen. And people should realize that. All you got to do is look and see what's going on. Whatever happens in Ukraine is going to directly affect whether or not there's a war in the Pacific. If we throw Ukraine under the bus, the Europeans will throw us under the bus. And then we'll be out there. True, we have Japan, we have Australia, New Zealand, and some other countries. But the Europeans won't be involved. They'll just say, hey, you weren't there for us, we're not here for you. It's just that simple. And who can blame them? I can't. I wouldn't. In fact, I would be shocked if after all that they would do anything to help us. And look, just so you'll know, I'm not a never Trump guy. In fact, I'm probably gonna vote for him because I look at the alternative, and that's not really an alternative at all. And so, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. But believe me when I say that I think this will be one of the worst mistakes he could ever, and he's made some already, there's no question about it, and he'll probably make some more. But this will be one of the worst mistakes he could ever make, and it will directly affect this country in ways you cannot imagine right now. Just wait and see. Throw Ukraine under the bus, and we'll be on our own. Okay, well, I probably bored you enough with that. I hope that at least part of what I said was interesting. I wish you a good evening, and Semper Fidelis.